G. Where are you all listening from? We did this in my last stream and I really loved it, seeing where you guys were all from. I saw a lot across the US. I saw some people from England, Ireland. It was quite cool. So tell me again where you guys are all watching from. I really want to know. As usual, thank you all so much for being here to talk about the latest episode of Teen Mom OG with me. So let me know. Do you hear me properly? Please drop a microphone if you hear me properly. So you guys, a quick question. If you had to rate this week's episode of Teen Mom OG on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? I personally, based off Leah alone, think that I would rate it maybe a 7. A 7. Normally Teen Mom OG for me is like a 4 or 5, sometimes even 6. But this time I am going to give it a 7. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of America, Florida, Ireland, so cool, San Diego, Washington State, Missouri, Las Vegas, Oklahoma, Arizona, Ohio. Hi, guys, Iowa as well, Kentucky again. Okay, so I'm seeing your microphones in the chat. This is awesome. Wow, there's even Scotland here. Can I say, I'm a really big into accents. Scottish accents to me are so freaking majestic. I really love them. So this is really cool. Okay, guys, thank you all so much for being here. So are you ready to get into this recap? Remember how on last week's episode of the show, we finished off with Maci at the gas station, ready to pump her own gas, but she was very hesitant about it because if you recall, she's got some PTSD because she was involved in a gas station shootout. And so this is her first time going back to the gas station to pump her own gas. Normally, her husband, Taylor, pumps her gas for her. So this is a huge deal, you guys. She was talking about how whenever she's in the shower, she's just thinking all the time, replaying that scene in her head over and over and over. So she's finally ready to pump her own gas. And she actually does do it, but she cries quite a bit. She sticks the nozzle in the car, gets in the car, and kind of like, has a little bit of an anxiety attack about it and cries about it. But then she finishes up and drives back, and she feels quite proud of herself. And I've got to say that I was proud of her as well to see her overcome, PTSD a little bit, one step at a time. Of course, she hasn't completely overcome it, right? And you can't expect for that to happen instantly, but it has happened. Oh my God, we've got someone from Gatineau. Gatineau is like a sister city to where I'm from, which is Ottawa. Bonjour, Meg. How cool. And I've got so many friends who live in Gatineau. It's like right next to downtown Ottawa. I had, the best poutine of my life was in Gatineau next to Nordique. So nice. Okay, so I'm seeing here, I felt bad for Maci. I could feel the anxiety, and I could feel the anxiety as well. Like, I know that some people talked a little bit about how, it's going to be a boring storyline, kind of just like how when Maci was, doing teal for PCOS awareness. But this is a very, very huge thing that she's really recovering from before our eyes. So to me, I find it to be a pretty compelling storyline personally. Like, I really felt amazing for her that she was able to do this because listen, like Air says, PTSD is nasty. It is a very difficult thing to live with. And so to see someone get to try to overcome it step by step, to me is absolutely amazing. And I'm happy for her. One thing I've got to say is that I don't like this new storyline that she's about to do, which is about her son. What's the son's name? Maverick. I don't like this new storyline, you guys. I have to tell you, just when I was proud of Maci because she is finally having her own storyline about her own life, she decides, you know what? Bentley, I have used that child enough. I have used his struggles enough. It is time to throw my other son into the fire. So her new storyline is basically, is my child Maverick kind of falling behind? Is he slow? Is he whatever? Or is he not? And I did not like that at all. You guys, how did you feel about Maci using Maverick, his position in kindergarten, being in limbo as her storyline? I feel like it wasn't fair. It was not fair at all. No. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, you guys. I did not like it. So, and especially because the whole reason why Maci did not want for Ryan and his family to film was because she wanted to show the positive side of her life and more of her own life. But here she is throwing her own other kid under the bus. And I was not a fan of it. No, she didn't say he was slow or anything, but like they were talking about how he's developing at a slower pace than other kids and how he might not be able to get into kindergarten because of this. Like it was basically like a big limbo situation for her. And I personally didn't like it because I felt as though this is the sort of thing that might come back to bite her kid in the butt. You know what I mean? Especially with how everything is on the internet and it's kind of like permanently out there. I didn't like it. And you know what? I do have to say, Danielle's comment is coming up here. And this is something that I thought about, and I don't, I'm not accusing Maci of anything. You know what I mean? But this is something that I thought about when I watched the episode play out. Danielle's saying, didn't she drink during the pregnancy? Why did she throw that boy under the bus? That is exactly what I thought, Danielle. I was like, you know what? All of Maci's kids are incredibly sharp, right? She's got Bentley and she's got Jade. And I don't see enough of Maverick to say whether he is or he isn't. I felt like production was really playing this up when they showed him later and Maci and Taylor. And by the way, you guys, I'm going to drop a link. If anybody wants to talk about this with me, I'm going to drop a link. I want to hear some of you guys' opinions on her throwing Maverick under the bus. Okay. So there it is. StreamYard link. If you want to hop on, share your opinions, it's right over there. So, did that cross you guys' mind as well? Right? Like, okay, like your other kids are very, very sharp and stuff. And then there's this one where you seemingly drank for a lot of your pregnancy with. And this was the season of the show that she was pregnant with Maverick when people were concerned, like genuinely concerned about, how often she and Taylor drink beers. Like they had a beer in hand in every single scene in this season. And so now the kid is born, Maverick. And so then, she's talking about him struggling with like learning and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? This is not a good look for you, Maci. It's not. I feel like this is something that is going to be on a lot of people's minds. And I didn't really like that for her. And I really felt bad for her kid that this was a storyline that was being used off his back. Shiki says, no offense to Maci, but she exploits her kids because she's boring on her own. She can only talk about the gas station for so long. That's true. This is absolutely true. And that's why you kind of go, you know what? Maci has made a lot of money from the show. She's got this social media or marketing business that she talks about, but she doesn't want to like actually name. And then she's got that clothing line. Oh, I see Made in Asia is here. And she's got that clothing line with Taylor as well. So to me, she's got enough money to keep on, moving forward. She doesn't need to do this to her kids. Hey, Made in Asia, it's nice to see you again, girl. How are you?
Hey, Grace, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I want to know, what are your thoughts on Maci using Maverick as her storyline?
Okay, so for me, I've actually worked in like child care facility for a few years, so I
Mm-hmm.
understood where she was coming from. I see a lot of parents, they kind of like, I wouldn't say they put their kids together, but if they see one that developed way faster, way earlier, they do say girls do develop faster, they're more mature than like a toddler. So
Sorry, you
I
were
did see
breaking
where she
up.
was
Do you mind
coming from,
repeating
but
that?
I didn't. Oh, sorry. I said I worked at a child care facility for some time, and so I did
Uh-huh.
see a lot of parents like put their kids side by side, like developmentally wise, and
Yeah,
like the girls kind of matured faster than the boys. Um,
absolutely.
so I did see where she was coming from, and some parents don't take the initiative to get the help if their child needs help. Some parents are like, oh, he's gonna grow out of it. He's gonna, he's just a child. But I did like that her and Taylor did speak with the teacher on his progress. And with the pandemic, some kids are not, used to being at home trying to learn. So I kind of felt uncomfortable with the whole thing. She shouldn't have to, exploit, Maverick. But to be honest with you, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all about those two kids. She put so much on Bentley, and we never saw her interact with Jade or Maverick. So I kind of
Exactly,
like,
right? Like I
yeah,
forgot about him too. That's why sometimes when I'm referencing him, I'm like, what's his name again? Because you didn't really see too much of him. Like her storyline has
yeah,
always
and like look,
revolved around Bentley, right? To the point where like you're like, I see Jade here and there, but Maverick has always kind of been in the background a little bit.
right, and Jade was so cute. She was, so well spoken. So I was like, oh, she's so cute. Like, why hasn't Maci like share her, to us?
Exactly.
But
Her
we
vocabulary
saw,
is mhm,
yeah, her vocabulary
exactly.
was off the chain. So I see
And they're
why
all so freaking
Macy's like
adorable.
worried. They look just like Taylor, and Taylor looked good.
Exactly. Thanks so much for sharing your
But
perspective
Grace,
from an educator
I
perspective. Thank you.
I do have a question, Grace.
Sure, no problem.
So what would you think the difference is Maci putting Maverick's business out on TV versus Mackenzie putting Brock's, you know, behavior and how been developing? How do you feel about that? Like, what's the difference? I didn't see a difference.
No, I don't think there's a difference either. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
I personally, the reason that I watch this, I want to know how like the women are doing in their lives and stuff. I don't really want to know, like, listen, the kids stuff, if they're doing great things and exciting things that they won't get bullied for or whatever, like down in the background, then I'm happy to hear about it. But if it's only about, and hi Ramel, sorry, I'm gonna bring you up in 1 second. Then if it's only about like, you know what I mean, things that like might get the kids teased for or later on, like, you know what I mean? Like, these are regular things. Kids struggling with learning issues, or kids wetting the bed, or kids sucking their fingers, or this, or going through puberty. But I don't want to see it on the show because I know that this can come back on the kids. Does that answer the question? Or is it me? Okay. I think you lost some service, Made in Asia, but thank you so much. I hope I answered your question. I'm going to scoot over to Ramal. Thank you, as always, for calling in. Hi, Ramal.
Hello, hi Grace. Nice to virtually meet you, even though you can't see me.
Well,
I'm a,
likewise. I remember your name. You're like a day one. So thank you so much for being
yeah.
subscribed for so long.
I I don't watch Team OG anymore. I'm not trying to come up here and sound and bring it bring the mood down, but I just lost interest. It's like
Well,
the same repetitive thing with each person. It's nothing really
mhm,
new. Like, congratulations to the people who are expecting, but other than that, I don't really see anything new. I think they need to start swapping people. Amber needs to go. Macy needs to go. She's boring. They're both. I don't see what. I'm not trying to be mean, but we don't care about Trump supporter Ryan or his family, or
mhm.
your co-parenting. And I just feel like she needs to go. Amber needs to
No,
go.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Honestly, if I were not doing YouTube, I would not be watching Team Emoji because it really has run its course. Some of the stuff that we're
Yeah.
seeing, for example, a semi storyline for Catelynn and Tyler this episode, you guys, was Veda and how hard it was to change her because sometimes she kicks. I was like, you guys are out of stories when this is something we keep on bringing up.
Right. And
Yes.
also another thing, what is that girl name? Mackenzie.
Hmm.
It's I feel like, what is she bringing to the show? I'm not trying to be mean. Her voice is like annoying. Just and bro, I'll be like, oh my god, it's like worse than Kourtney Kardashian's voice. It's like, oh my god, it's like oh god, I can't. I feel like they need to
Well,
just
I
swap some
feel you
people
on
out.
that. I feel like Mackenzie kind of brings down the overall aura of the show. So it's a reason why I kind of was skipping recapping her scenes for a while because I feel like she's always just putting bad news on us. Like, yeah, bad things happen in life, of course, but I would like a good balance between the bad news and the good news in people's lives. That's a real reason that I'm not too fond of her.
Yeah, like I can sympathize with her because, I lost my mom a year ago, so I understand what her and her family are going through. But
Yeah.
other than that, she's boring. She needs to leave Josh. I don't know why she's still with him. He's
Hmm.
not that interesting. He's like a white version of Juan to Robin. He doesn't want
Ron
to
Nixon.
leave him.
He's so uninterested. Well, that's the thing. Like, she did try, but remember, like, her mom is heavily religious, and she really I don't know, like she really convinced Mackenzie to stay with this man. She's like, this is what I would want. This is what God would want. Like, you got to keep your family
Yeah,
together.
but also people have to understand, I come from a religious background too, but who is anyone to tell us who we should be with? You know, Mackenzie knows she don't want him, so she needs to just leave him.
I completely agree. And I hope that she does get, the strength to do that eventually, because this, in my opinion, I feel like she's outgrown it, and I feel like you see it, everybody sees it at this point. So let's hope she wakes up to it eventually.
Right.
Thanks so much for calling in, Ramel. It was nice talking to you.
All right. God bless.
God bless. Bye. So you guys, next up, Ryder. It is her birthday coming up. And, this kind of stuck out to me. And I want to know if it stuck out to you guys as well. So Cheyenne asked Ryder who she wants to invite to her birthday party. And Ryder gives a list. And Boz was not on the invite list. And I felt like the producers really wanted to make sure that we heard that scene. Because remember, especially if you watch Housewives, then that producers can be quite shady. So especially with their camera work and stuff. So I felt like they were kind of trying to show that to us based on last week when Cheyenne was really upset with her sister for wanting to move to DC because she felt as though Ryder was going to miss Boz because they grew up basically like, brother and sister. Ryder named who? She said Mila will be there. Cheyenne will be there. She wants, I think, Corey to be there. But she didn't mention Boz, I noticed. And, this is nothing, right? Because kids, they're not going to forget, or maybe she assumed Boz would be there. But that was one thing I noticed. But it was just a little funny. I felt like that was a producer being a little bit shady. So next up, you guys, I really want to know how you feel about, and I see Made in Asia is back. I really want to know how you feel about Amber and that thing that she did for Leah. She made this apology video where she was fake crying per usual about her relationship with Leah. So before she even makes the thing, she is talking to her producer about it because she doesn't have family or friends who are going to be filming the show with her. And she talks about how she hasn't spoken to Leah in months. I saw a lot of headlines about this where people were acting like it was shocking, but this is typical Amber. She's talked about not speaking to Leah for months for multiple seasons now. Hey, Asia, what's up? Let me unmute you.
Sorry, I disconnected. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How do you feel about Amber's situation with Leah? Her decision to make an apology video for her?
Ooh, Grace, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
I teared up.
You teared up?
And
you felt like it was genuine from Amber?
No, I teared up because of Leah.
Oh, that I understand.
I teared up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Leah, she, as Gary said, she has social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very cautious of that because she's gonna see everything from 16 and pregnant and until now. And Leah said that she saw Amber talking about Kristina. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of felt bad because she's seeing this play out in the media, in public. She's probably middle school age, so people are talking about it, and she's understanding, my mom is a POS. She really out here just left me stranded with my dad and Kristina and chased all these men, had, the baby, and now she's just back at square one. So I don't think the apology was genuine. I feel like the producers need to call her out on that BS because nobody calls her out on her BS.
No, except for her brother. Her brother tried. And by the way, Ryan, I've got you. I'm about to pop you in here too. Thank you so much for hanging on. What was that, Asia?
Yeah, I forgot about her brother, but they only showed him so many times. But yeah, I feel like, they just feed into it. Leah's like, no, how you gonna hurt somebody that I love? And I was dang.
That was so mature and deep for her to say that. I don't want to love somebody who hurts people or hurts people that I love. I was like, wow, Leah, you are on it.
She's very mature, and I think Gary and Kristina did a good job with raising her.
Absolutely.
You can't shield her. Yeah, you can't shield her. You can't, keep her inside the house. She goes to school. She has a phone. She's going to be a teenager. So she's going to see it. So Amber, it's a little too late.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing again.
No problem. I want Grace. Please do it for the people. You got to do it for the people.
Do what?
You have to review Young and Pregnant. I don't know how you feel about it, but Young and Pregnant is where it's at. It's where it's at. I'm glued to the
I
TV.
will. I will. Right after this, I'm going to be doing a recap of Vanderpump Rules, the premiere for this new season. Then after that, Young and Pregnant.
Okay, well, I'll be there.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
All right, I've got Ryan on. Ryan, what are you thinking?
Hey, how's it going? Me and my wife, we love you. Just want to let you know. And
Thank you, guys.
I feel bad for the guy because I feel like what's her name again, babe?
His camera muted. Hey, Megan, what are you thinking about the Amber or Maci or anything else from this episode?
Hey, Grace. Just wanted to say I'm an OG follower. I'm really happy at how much your channel has grown. I guess I wanted. You're welcome. I just wanted to touch on Amber. Watching that last night, it really was like, it was really sad to watch. I think with being a mom, like, how do I put this? I think with being a mom, you always think like your kids are going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in her circumstance, like, I think she took advantage of that, and she really, really ran over Leah. And Leah's really sticking up for herself. And I'm really glad to see that. She's really maturing as she gets older. And, I think it's great to see. And I think Kristina personally is a great role model. I'm happy she's in her life. I think Gary made a good choice with her. Yeah.
100%. I completely agree. And it's like, you know what? I mentioned this in last week's recap when I said Amber has forgiven her own mom for so much. Remember, her own mom stole over $30,000 of her for gambling purposes, and she forgives her. And, her mom also sold stories about her to the tabloid. So she kind of comes from that toxic mentality where your parents can do whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever they want to do to you, but you have to forgive them because they're your parents. And Leah's from that new generation where they're realizing blood or not, toxic is toxic, and you don't have to put up with it.
Exactly. So true.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Meg, for hopping on and all of your support.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Bye. So, you guys, listen, was it a good idea for Amber to record herself filming that letter? I found it kind of creepy. I tell you guys, I joke about it, but it's kind of low-key serious. She kind of reminds me of Stan. Do you remember that Eminem song and video, Stan? Like that person who's just obsessed with somebody who doesn't want anything to do with them. They're writing them letters. They're like doing all this crying and stuff. Like it was so weird. So she's talking to Larry about wanting to do this. And she starts fake crying to Larry. And I'm like, oh my God, like this man must have felt so uncomfortable. Like how awkward. Was it not super duper awkward? And she was like crying, but as usual, no tears were actually coming out. Like it was very uncomfortable for me to watch. So I can only imagine being there in the flesh. I think she needs to take a little bit of like lessons, acting lessons or something, so that she can be convincing by the time that she, does this and sends it over to Leah. But of course, she doesn't invest her money in those acting lessons because she, spoiler alert, she films a video and she fake cries. So next, you guys, we are not in Detroit where we normally would be for Catelynn and Tyler. They're actually in Florida to visit Catelyn's grandparents, and they seem to be normal people who live a good life. So this is where I'm going to depend on you guys. Question: how did April wind up the way that she did if she came from these people who seem normal? They seem to live like an average middle-class life. I don't know if it's because Catelynn and Tyler are helping them with finances or something. I don't know, but they seem to have a nice, middle class life, good head on their shoulders. Like they seem like reasonable people. They don't seem like people who would spawn an April, right? So I'm kind of curious about how April wound up the way that she did. Did she get into drugs young and then that's how it happened? Like, it's kind of interesting, hanging with the wrong crowd. So Catelynn and Tyler decide to call Mackenzie and Josh to invite them for a double date for brunch. And I gotta say, I love that Mackenzie was out running when Catelynn called her. One thing about Mac and her family, not Josh, but her family, is that they're into their fitness. And I think it's a great thing to model to children. You know, she kind of made me feel like, damn, let me get my butt back in the gym. I have been stalling. Let me get into some classes or something, because she's so freaking active. And I love that. So yeah. Mackenzie's problem right now is that Bronx is still getting thrown out of school for hitting other kids. So Mackenzie and Josh are like, well, Mackenzie's like, well, we might have to bring him to the double date because he might be suspended that day. And I was like, ooh, wee. Ouch, you know, like that must suck. Like that must suck. Krista says here, she goes thug life. Oh my God. But yeah, like yeah, I really feel for them. That must be so brutal. And like Mackenzie said in the other episode, like it's so like kind of odd, like hard for them as parents, because you feel like people are judging you because this is what's happening to the kid. But of course, he was going through a lot. So listen, I have another question for you guys. Why the heck did Amber need help filming that, you know, crying apology video to Leah? Like, she knows how to work a phone. She filmed her Instagram live herself. So why didn't she just rotate that phone and then film herself? Like, she had a producer come over to help her, quote unquote, film that thing. Kind of weird, right, you guys? So anyway, she then sent Gary a text message saying that she wants Leah or anybody else to watch the video. And I'm like, what do you mean anybody else? Like, the corner store clerk, the mailman, like who is anybody else? I've got a question for you guys, and I want to hear your opinions. I'm going to leave the StreamYard link again for you guys to call in if you'd like to. Guys, was Gary right to not play that video before sharing it with Leah? You know, one thing he said that I find kind of interesting, because Kristina had that concern as well. She's like, do you want to watch it first before you share the information with Leah? You know, it could be negative, because she's still remembering that Amber did that Instagram live calling her a homewrecker and all kinds of things. And Gary said if it was negative, she would have put it online. I laughed so hard, you guys. How freaking hilarious, because it's true, right? But at the same time, I think that it's still important to check, like pre-screen it, because they know Amber is erratic. They know Amber is unreasonable. And they know that Amber likes to guilt trip Leah. And one of you guys brought this up in the chat, and thank you so much, because I had forgotten about it. They remember that Amber was privately texting things to Leah like, oh, your birthday party is fake. You know, like the parents are fake almost. Like she's like kind of basic, you know what I mean? Like she's really saying awful things to the child. So I do think that from that purpose, he absolutely should have pre-watched it. He should have pre-watched it. I'm sorry. He should have pre-watched it, you know, and especially with the way that it turned out being, he absolutely should have pre-watched it and maybe thought about whether or not he wanted, you know, Leah to actually see that for herself. So thank you all so much for being here. I see we've got over 700 people in the chat. Please make sure to like this video so it continues to perform well. And if you guys would like to watch the full episode for yourselves, make sure to get the VPN. It also helps support this channel. It is an affiliate link. It's in the description box down below. So before we even get into the content of that video, we are then transported back over to Florida, where they do the double date. Catelynn and Tyler with Mackenzie and Josh. And so they're up there on a patio just talking and stuff. And Catelynn and Mackenzie talk about bonding over how they feel as though, because in Mackenzie's case, she had like a year of hardcore depression and grief over the loss of her mom. And Catelynn, she was in treatment like 3 times, outpatient, inpatient treatment. She felt as though, you know, for a long time in Nova's life, she wasn't really able to be there for her. So they both feel like a sense of guilt, you know, that maybe that is what is contributing to certain things with their kids, which I thought was very open and vulnerable and honest conversation that was needed to have on the show. And Mackenzie says, yeah, she really thinks that like her being absent for that 1 year, especially like in her depression, is contributing to Bronx's issues. And they also kind of bonded about still being with their high school sweethearts like 10 years later, which I thought was so sweet. Oh, sorry. I see that I missed a super chat over here from Princess Tia. Oh, one of my longtime members as well. Thank you, Princess Tia. She says, April's mom, I thought they hate her. Oh, who hates April's mom? The grandma, you guys, the grandma that we saw that seems all nice and reasonable. So I want to know the drama. Was there ever drama between Catelynn and the grandparents? This gets me a little bit interested. Well, thank you so much for the super chat, Sia. So you guys, yeah, like, you know, I have to say, Tyler does talk a little bit of his own little talk when they get back in Detroit, which we'll get back to later, because I felt like what he said about them was a little bit ironic, but I digress. So now Maci's actually filming another scene with her own mom. I really like seeing her mom, you know, and I can't get over how thick her hair is. I'm so jealous. Like, her hair is so thick and beautiful and red. I love red hair. It's so beautiful. It really is. So they're talking together about how Maverick might not be admitted into kindergarten because he is kind of struggling in daycare with writing and I think speaking and stuff like that. He's no longer really struggling with the stutter that he was a couple of seasons ago, but it's kind of like just in terms of his learning and stuff. But this is where things get a little weird because she seems really stressed out by it. And then her mom is like, listen, just because he's not, you know, doing that great in daycare doesn't mean he's not going to perform all that great in kindergarten. It's a different environment, which I thought was true. Like, give him a chance before you hold him back, you know? And so, so Tia was spilling. She said Kate and her grandma do not get along or didn't get along. Well, I wonder why. I really got to look into this. Where have I been? So, okay, this is where things get really kind of weird. Maci and Taylor have that call with the pre-K teacher, right? And the teacher did not sound the slightest bit concerned about the way that Maverick was developing. She was talking about how, you know, listen, kids all go at their different paces. It doesn't matter if he doesn't know the full alphabet. It doesn't matter if he doesn't know how to count to this. It doesn't matter if he can't write that well. He will learn all of these things in kindergarten. So at this point, I start thinking, was there an actual threat of Maverick not being able to get into kindergarten, or is this just a storyline that Maci was exploiting to give some tension and some interest to her own storyline? Because if that is the thing, then at that point, you know, again, I have to see again, there's an exploitation problem here with our darling Maci when it comes to her kids. I don't think it's fair to joke around. Well, not, you know what I mean? To play around with the idea that your child might have, you know, a learning disorder or might be like falling behind or whatever, if it is not in fact true. You know, I got that vibe. Did anybody else get that vibe where it was like, I don't know. Because yeah, the teacher sounded not at all concerned, just based on like what I heard. The Blogwire is saying here, it was a fake phone call. Rachel is the McKinney's babysitter, not Maverick's teacher. We've seen her in the past episodes when the Littles were babies. There's not even a Rachel who teaches at the school. The tea of it all. The tea of it all. It's weird then if they're lying. So Blogwire has a really good website. Blogwire, you know, she's always DMing me on Twitter as well with some little scoops on the teen mom world. But wow, you know, if that is indeed true and there was never any kind of like concern or anything like that, then I gotta say, I'm sorry, but shame on Maci, because that's not fair to Maverick to have that put out about him. If it's not true, right? And even if it is true, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to have that information put out about him, right? Becky says it can be so worrying for parents, so I understand why they're worried, but often younger siblings learn slower. It's true. You hear that. You say they usually say the oldest is the one that learns the quickest. They also say that typically girls advance quicker than boys. So yeah, Megan's saying it's a mom worry. She thinks that she's nervous. They can't stop you from putting your kid in kindergarten. School attendance is required. Just a storyline. Yeah, my son and daughter both got learning difficulties, and that has never stopped them from going to school. It's kindergarten, right? It is kindergarten. It's kindergarten. Asia says they got to know most of the colors and stuff in kindergarten. Okay. Interesting. Again, Blogwire, thank you so much for that scoop. That is interesting. My memory does not stretch that far, so it's nice, you know, to have that information there. So, okay, so we're back in Florida where Catelynn and Tyler are with the grandma that Catelynn is apparently feuding with. Y'all, if you know why Catelynn is feuding with her grandma, please let me know down below. By the way, I saw some people saying that they were listening from Belgium. I need to visit Belgium. I really want to. I've been trying to convince someone to do a weekend, like a Saturday, you know, morning tonight in Belgium or whatever. And Argentina, I love Argentinian Spanish. I have to say, it's beautiful. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm very un poco, very slow on it right now, but I really want to learn it. It's so nice. So anyway, you guys, back in, well, actually they're in Michigan now because they finished over in Florida, but Catelynn and Tyler talked about their meeting or their double date with Mackenzie and Josh. And Tyler said that Mackenzie and Josh seemed disconnected as a couple. In fact, they felt like they were barely even friends. Did you guys kind of gag at that? Huh? Did you guys gag at that a little bit, you guys? I really, really want to know, because that is something that people always say about Catelynn and Tyler. And another interesting thing that he said about Josh and Mackenzie, and Josh in particular, was that he doesn't speak out enough. He needs to start speaking out for himself more, which is interesting because Catelynn was talking at the same time and Tyler was over talking her to say this, as he usually does. He's always over talking her. Even when they went for that double date and they arrive at the table, Catelynn is saying hi to them. He's just like, oh, we're at the table. You guys are the ones with the cat. Like, he's always over talking that girl. Always, 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 always. Did you guys notice that too? Oh my God, let me read all of these. In the Netherlands. And I want to go to the Netherlands. That's another place that I really want to go. In fact, Campfire Daily, he's going to be in the Netherlands next week. And I wish I could join him up there, but I've been traveling too damn much. So maybe I don't think I'll be able to get back there up there for the first time until next spring or something like that. So, okay, I'm trying to see it sounds so nice, by the way. You know, you guys in your boats and stuff. Oh, just living the life over there in the Netherlands. So let's see. They say all the time they're together because Mac can't discipline the kids. Yeah, she needs Josh to be the disciplinarian, right? It sounds like Tyler was self-reflecting, absolutely, without even knowing it, right? There's always that little bit of projection there. Y'all know it's bad for Tyler and Catelynn to say that it seems like you guys have no chemistry or connection, right? Like, I was really out there. Like, this man is really out here saying this with a straight face without stopping to think about how that could be turned around on his own self. So now, you guys, this is when we get into, let me put up the photo here because, oh Lord. Okay, hang on. Let me put this up. I'm going to do this. Can I add this? Oh, I can't add it. Why not? Oh my God. You're ruining my live StreamYard. Anyway, so this is how things kind of go down when the Amber's performance video happens. So Leah comes home and Gary and Kristina sit her down and say that her mother sent a video or whatever over, and they asked, like, do you want to like see it? Do you want to whatever? And Leah's like, you know what? Can you guys be here while we watch it? Can we watch it together? And so they say, okay. So this is the first time all three of them are watching it. And one of you guys in my Facebook comments, naughty, goes, you know, Amber filmed that thing like she was a hostage or something. Oh my God, you guys are absolutely hilarious. Someone was like, oh my God, like she filmed that like she was a hostage. They haven't been feeding me in, ouch, 2 weeks. Please send over the money. Emily says, Amber was whining. How many times do I have to apologize? Right? It is really not sinking in. She doesn't even just have to apologize. She also has to change her behavior, but she's not ready for that conversation. Oh my God. So the three of them are watching the video. And did you guys notice that Amber never actually looked at the camera? I think it's because she knew that she could not actually shed the actual tears. So she's like, if I sound like I'm crying and if I dry heave while looking at the floor and I have my hair half over my eye, then she'll actually think that I'm crying. Like, this has to be a symptom of something, because this is not normal people behavior. This is not normal parent behavior. You know what I mean? And yes, Asia, when Leah called her Amber, I think that was the first time she called her Amber. And I was like, yes, girl. You know what? You deserve to. You've got your mom, and your mom's name is Kristina, right? Oh my God. And yes, Kristina, I'm glad. I am happy that she did not fall for it. So guys, I felt bad for everybody watching that thing because it was embarrassing. I felt bad for Gary, Kristina, Leah. I felt bad for the camera it was filmed on, because that was so freaking cringeworthy. Like, she was just, Leah, you know, there's been some stuff I've done in my past. And she never acted. Oh my God. So anyway, One other thing outside of Leah referring to Amber as Amber that I have to mention is that Leah also talked about Amber being high. She goes, like I have some memories, but like I don't know if she was high or like whatever on drugs or something. So I don't know if they're real memories. And I go, wow, I didn't even know that Leah knew that Amber was on drugs. I thought she only knew about the jail and stuff like that. But I didn't know that she knew that Amber was on drugs. Wasn't that interesting, you guys? I was like, she really, like, did she find out from Amber, from Gary, from Kristina, from the internet? Because remember, she's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, apparently, all this stuff where she would be able to find this information out. And it makes me sad for her that this is some stuff that she knows, right? Tia says it was unseen moments. They said that, the grandparents claimed that Catelynn and Tyler sold their daughter, Carly. Wow, that's horrible. Okay, I could totally see why they would stop talking to her for that reason, because that is absolutely awful. You guys, what else? Leah probably reads all the Teen Mom blogs. Yeah, I think so. I feel like these kids are reading the blogs. They're watching these lives. They're out there, YouTube, whatever. They are in the world, like knowing this stuff. And it's kind of sad, that the parents don't behave themselves accordingly. Gladys says, so glad Leah's straight, and she said she's hurting someone I love, so I can't love someone like that. It was deep when she said that. That's when I was like, this girl is incredibly mature, incredibly intelligent. Like, she is really growing up, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And yeah, it was a defining moment when she called Amber just plain Amber. Yeah, and that was really kind of funny during the double date when Josh was like, y'all got a cup or a napkin because I need to spit. And everyone was like, Yep. And I completely agree, Nina. Gary was horrible when Leah was born. Not only, he was kind of lazy as a father, but he was also an awful partner to Amber. I would definitely say, and I've said a couple of times too, that he was emotionally abusing Amber early on in their relationship for sure. So Leah has a conversation with her parents. And if you guys want to talk about that, definitely feel free to drop in. I've got the StreamYard link below. So she has a conversation with her parents about the thing. And they're asking her, do you feel like you accept this apology? And Leah says, no, she doesn't. And Leah basically has closed the door on the idea of rekindling a relationship with her mother. Her mother, she's got Kristina, right? So she's basically that after that thing she did on Instagram, that video she made where she talked badly about Kristina. I love Kristina. No, I don't want to make up with her. I can't believe that she did that. She was I can't forgive somebody for trying to hurt the person that I love. And Gary and Kristina try to tell her, you can love both Kristina and Amber. You can love your mom and Amber. Just because you love your mom doesn't mean you don't have to love Amber. And, Leah really dug her heel in the sand. She drew a line in the sand. And listen, I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her for sticking to her guns. And they've also got to say, I'm proud of Gary and Kristina for no longer trying to talk her out of her feelings. They're listening to her. They're having her explain herself. And they're saying, that they support her in whatever decision it is that she makes for her own life. And I absolutely get it. I absolutely get it. Leah said, I don't know if the fake tears are fake or not. Ooh, listen, she knows that this mom of hers is a drama queen. She is a performer, Are we sure she started studying science at that university and not theater? Was it Latin and not theater? Gary was sometimes manipulative too, but he's one of the, he absolutely has grown up, Emerald. He absolutely has. And thank you, Matt. Yes, if you guys don't mind, definitely, if you're enjoying the stream, feel free to hit that like button. Okay, so you guys, what else happens here? We are now rounding the corner here, you guys. And, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that Leah is permanently going to refrain from having a relationship with her mother? Or why do I keep saying that? I'm sorry, Leah. I'm sorry. Do you think she's permanently going to refrain from having a relationship with Amber? Or do you think that things might change on both ends as they kind of grow up? Do you guys see a special one day where it's a sit-down special between the two of them? Hi, Shannon Van. Thanks so much for being here. The whole situation is a mess. Amber, you have to allow Leah's feelings. She's been through a lot in her young life. 1,000% true. And it's like somebody else said earlier. She keeps going, how many times I have to apologize? How many times? She is really not ready to actually genuinely feel sorry. She feels like just because she said it a couple of times, she should automatically be forgiven. And that is not fair to Leah and her feelings. Amber didn't just, forget her birthday once or like forget to pick her up or this or that. Like she actively neglected this girl for years. And she regularly went months at a time without speaking to her. Remember, you guys, she was talking about how she only saw Leah 2 times in the span of a summer. She was bragging about it when she was dating Matt Bayer. Remember? So come on. No, I really cannot stand that. Edil says that she feels like Leah is scared to hurt Kristina. That did cross my mind as well. I was kind of like, oh my God, like I hope she doesn't feel like this is what she has to do in order to be loyal to Kristina as her mom. But Kristina was there to actively, encourage her to have that relationship with Amber if she wanted to. And it seems like she's not here for that. But at the same time, this very well could be something that is weighing on her mind. She feels like she would be betraying Kristina possibly if she were to try to have a relationship with Amber. So now, you guys, we are back in Florida where Mackenzie tells Josh that she feels like their relationship is mainly about the kids. This is what I don't like about them. They go, oh, I feel like we don't really have time to have one-on-one time or have dates or whatever together as a couple. Neither of these people have like a job. Okay. Like Mackenzie, she runs her own business on her own time, like doing workout DVDs or whatever. And I think she sells workout shakes, and Josh doesn't have a job, period. And the kids are in school. So it's not like they don't have time. Stop it. They absolutely do not. They do have time. It's just that they do not have the motivation to actually spend romantic time together as a couple. That's personally what I feel like. Do you guys feel like that way as well? Did that rub you guys the wrong way? That rubbed me the wrong way. We don't have time. Sorry. Neither of you are really working, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day. And Josh is not working, period. And the kids are in school. You've got time. You just don't want to do it. You don't have the inclination to do it. And then in the final scene of the episode, Corey thanks Zach for always being there to step up for Ryder. And I love how mature the co-parenting works in Cheyenne's world. It is absolutely wonderful. So now, you guys, that is your recap. If there's anything else you guys want to add, I am definitely going to put them up here. I've got a link if you guys have any final thoughts. I've got another few minutes here to spend with you guys. If there's anything you want to get off your chest. Felicia doesn't think that Leah will ever want a relationship with Amber. Amber keeps putting the responsibility of maintaining a relationship on Leah and pretends like she's done something. Parentification isn't okay. Yet, Dr. Drew also needs to stop letting Amber get away with everything, but yet gives everyone else a hard time. I completely agree. Like, I noticed that he picks and chooses who he wants to try it with. But the thing is, with people like Amber, she will buck back and refuse to film and do all of these dramatic things. So I think that is why he kind of backs up from her a little bit more so than he would with some of the more level-headed mothers. KBB says things could really change when she grows up. I really think Leah needs to get counseling to sort all of her feelings out. I agree. I feel like she's got a lot on her shoulders that she absolutely needs help unpacking with the help of a professional therapist. She's doing an amazing job. She really is. But she's only 11 years old, right? She needs that extra help, and I think it would be good for her. Christine says, my mom was a lot like Amber, and growing up, if my mom would have talked crap about my grandmother who raised me, I would have zero respect for my mother because my grandma was always there for me no matter what. Thank you so much for sharing that, Christine. It's true, you guys. It absolutely is true. You feel defensive about someone because that's her mom. And, just like Christine, like her grandma was her mom. So you don't come out here and talk mess about my mama and think we're going to have a relationship. No. So I completely get it. Again, thank you all so much. Matt, thank you. It is so nice to be able to chat with you guys. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much to Shannon Van, my lovely moderator. And like she says, you guys, if you watch Vanderpump Rules in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be doing a live recap of Vanderpump Rules. Then right after that, a live recap of Young and Pregnant. So right now it's almost 7 o'clock here, Paris time. So how do I do the math on that? Hang on. I sent a text about what I was going to be doing. Hang on. So from about 8:15 Paris time, which is about 2:15, I think, Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a live recap of Young and Pregnant after my Vanderpump Rules recap. So definitely feel free to tune in. Please tune in. It was a juicy episode, and I really want you guys to dial in and share your opinions. Guys, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.